from the cleaners, because they're all about things like claimbos and clisses, and it's dangerous territory, you know? It's softened them. It has softened their hearts. And, you know, why would you ship something that's going to soften you, where you are going to have half of your OTP be one of the most mediocre characters in television, when you could ship Kartie and have both halves of your OTP be two of the most amazing characters in television? So I don't see the competition here. However, I do see a little bit of a problem with cleaners becoming Kartie cart riders. And that's only because I just don't think they can handle Artie Abrams. I literally think that they would just freak out, because Artie is not having claimbos and clisses. He is like, bitch, please, get that shit out of here, bro. And so, you know, there's the problem. Once you go clean, you can't go back. So you gotta stay away. Like, you just need to stay away. Now, I'm going to talk about Kartie a little bit. Now, I know you think about Kurt and Artie together, and it's like, that's so awesome, there isn't even an explanation necessary. However, I'm going to give you a few reasons to ship Kartie. Kurt and Artie are both part of the original Glee Club. Now, you know, I think that those originals have a bond. They bonded, you know, and they can look back on that, you know, when they're 50 and married, and they can just think, remember when we were original Glee Club members? And it'll be beautiful, you know? Another thing that they can bond over is the fact that they are both bullied. And, you know, usually it's not something you want to think about, but when the person you love knows how it feels, you don't need to talk about it. You just need to hug it out. Or, I think Artie would be too awesome to hug it out, and they would fuck it out. So, there's that. Another thing, Kurt, I think, would really, really enjoy giving Artie a makeover. They're like crack to him, you know. So, while personally I find Artie's outfits and style to be wonderful, I don't think Kurt shares the same mentality. And I think that Kurt could take Artie's sweater vest, suspender, bow tie style, and he could revive that style and make it somehow better. I try not to use the word better with Artie because most of the time it's physically impossible, but I think Kurt could do that, and that is the main reason why I ship Kartie. They can also have crying sessions over the fact that Sam had to leave. Sam and Kurt were friends, and they bonded as well over Sam's family and Kurt knowing about it and helping him out. And then Sam and Artie were so close. They were like this. They were best friends. You know what that means. And they could just cry together over Sam, and it would be sad, definitely, but it would be beautiful, and it could possibly lead to angsty sex, which is always awesome. And lastly is that when you ship Kartie, suddenly everything starts with a K, and it's really awesome, you know. I am personally a co-captain of the Kartie Cart community, and you picture the words co-captain and community and cart, and you picture them starting with C's. However, when you ship kartie, those bitches start with K's. And that's pretty damn awesome. And kisses, they're no longer kisses, they are k-kisses. K-kisses. Which is better than any kliss ever could be. And as a last side note, I'm going to mention Kmart, which is Kurt and Matt Rutherford. And I'm just going to say that this is probably the ship that comes closest to being as awesome as kartie. However, Matt Rutherford, he left. So I'd say that gives kartie the advantage. So now that you've sat through like 14 minutes of me babbling about how amazing kartie cart is and how much better it is than your ship, I hope that you drop a message in my ask box. My URL is artyxkurt, and tell me that you want to be a rider of the kartie cart, and I will put you on that list. Thank you for sitting through that, and I will see you on the kartie cart. This is kind of a disclaimer for my You Should Ship kartie video, mostly because there was a lot of offensive things in that, and I just want to say that the views represented in that video do not represent the views of all kartie cart riders, mostly just mine. But I also want to say that I respect almost all of the ships I mentioned. So, you know, there are a few that I'm like no on, but mostly I'm good because I'm a multi-shipper. Like, Hummelcest is just a big no for me. Jert is just not happening. No, I hate Jacob and Israel. And Kill is just, you know, I've always thought Will was a pedo, but I don't want to actually think about his act of, no thank you. And Clane, I'm not a claner. I have one friend that's a claner, so I don't want to offend like all the claners because there are obviously some that are cool. However, the majority of the ones that I've come into contact with are not my favorite people. So yeah, just no offense to anybody, because, you know, just having fun. I do want to point out that like 90% of that was sarcasm, and that no, I do not dislike Kerchang because Kurt's not Asian. I couldn't care less. I actually love Kerchang. I'm a big Kurtovsky shipper. I'm a total comer. You know, all the rest of them I'm okay with. Kurt and Matt, you know, everybody has like this canon, a head canon for Matt that's just super ridiculous. And so, you know, mostly we go off of that when we're shipping Kmart. But, you know, I do love Matt, so that's cool. But kartie is my OTP. you know, it's totally canon. I don't see how you could ever fight that it's canon. You know, it's got a total possibility of being in-game, so watch out, cleaners and pirates. So, just saying, it's total possibility. And, you know, it's just, I love both of the characters of Kurt and Artie, and I can see that there could be chemistry between them, and their personalities could go very well together, and they would just work well together, to me. So that's like the real reason I ship Kartie. And I just wanted to make this video to say that yes, the other was a joke, so don't take anything I said seriously and like flip your shit, because like if I get responses like seriously arguing anything I said, I'm not going to reply, because I physically could not possibly give a fuck. That's all. So yeah, that's it. And you should totally, like, for real, if you want to ride the kartie cart, just let me know in my ask box and I will put you on the list, because there is a list. I'm a co-captain. The other two are Sidori, and she is Kartie OTP, and Catherine, who is Kevin McHale, is a BAMF. So you should definitely follow them. And our first mate is Rain, and she is Dread Sadie's. You should follow her too. And while you're at it, just go down the entire freaking kartie cart riding list and just follow every single one of those fuckers. There we go. So thanks for watching like 20 minutes of me today, because this is getting ridiculous.